those of you who've been with me a long time, you realize that I've been cutting my own hair now for about a year. And here is my current cut. I've got it up in a barrette, which is my favorite way of wearing it, especially when I go outside, because I don't like getting hair in my eyes. Here's my current cut. Um, still a lot of boo-boos in here that I've been working on fixing, but let me just tell you how I do it. I color my own hair and I cut my own hair. I found that I had to go purchase one of these. This was real cheap. This is how you hold it, like this. It's very important, to hold it right. That way you can cut more. What I do when I cut my hair is I focus on different sections. Like one day, there's so much to think about when you cut your hair that I find that I have to do it in sections. Like one day I'll work on the bottom. And when I work on the bottom is usually the first thing you want to do, especially for this is a layered bob. I look good when it kind of goes down like this. So what I'll do is I'll get a mirror like this where I can see the back, and I'll go to the bathroom and look in the mirror, and then I'll just kind of like eyeball like this. I'll eyeball it and just cut it like this, and that's it. And then I'll look at the back and I'll cut like over here, and I'll go like this, and then cut this way, and I eyeball it. That's what I do. I just eyeball it for the bottom. Now the problem that I have sometimes when I get to this section here, this looks good when it's kind of tapered. And the way that I'll do the taper so I can get it to go, down in like this is I'll hold it like this. And if I see any little extras in there, then I'll just get my scissors and go in there and hold this like this and just cut it off. And I point cut. I don't go like this, I point cut to try to get a texturized ends there. So I'll point cut and I'll go through there and then taper it. So that's what I do for the bottom. This cut still has a lot of problems. This here, on this side, one side is too short. This side's too short, and I'm trying to grow all this out. Okay, once I do the bottom, then I work on the layers. I've learned from experience that I need to start my layers low, not high. I made a big mistake and started like way up here. Layers need to start kind of low for me, or else my ears don't get covered. So what I'll do to do the layers, you hold the hair out like this, and you want to make sure your fingers are parallel to your scalp when you pull it out. And then when you decide where you want the layer to fall, like if you want it to be shorter, I mean longer, then you hold it down here. If you want it to be shorter, then you're going to hold it up here. There's some really good beautician videos on how to cut layers, and I'll have those underneath my video. But what you do is you hold your fingers parallel to the scalp. It's kind of hard to see here with this. And then any extras that stick out from there, I point cut in there and cut them off. And right now, you just do that in all the sections where you want to layer. So like here, here, here. You hold it. It's very important to hold it parallel to the scalp to make sure that that you are cutting your layers evenly. And you want to hold it the same amount everywhere. Like depending on another thing I'll do is I'll look in the mirror and I'll pull different parts out. Like I'll do this to make sure this is even. This is pretty even. And then like I'll pull this out and see how these sides are even, like this. No, it's hard to see it on this mirror. Like this is a little long. That's about even. And then you put different sections and I'll pull them out and make sure that they're even. I'll go like this all the way through, kind of eyeball and see how. I do better with a mirror. Trying to do this with a camera just doesn't work for me. But okay, like that, yeah. Now, actually, this side here, see this one side here, this side's too short. See right there? And when I pull this out, this is a lot longer. So I'm working on growing this out. And in here, I've been cutting this too short. And actually, this side is shorter than this side in the layers. So I'm working on getting this to grow out. But so that's what I do. I'll just kind of like if I want to cut a layered cut here, I would just hold it out even to the scalp like this and then just pull it out. It's sort of uneven, but I'm kind of growing this out right now. So I'm more concerned about growing that out than having perfect layers here. So it's not going to be as blended looking as it can because I'm growing this out. But if you want it to be blended, you want to make sure that when you pull it out, you're parallel to the scalp and then any leftovers get nipped off, you know. So that's how I do the layers. Then I work on the bangs. I find for bangs, I look good with side bangs for this particular cut. And what I do for the bangs, I've discovered the best thing for me with bangs is when I put my hair up in a barrette, it always does this. For bangs, part it down the middle, use a comb, part it down the middle, use a comb, part it down the middle, and then you just you get a triangle and you separate it like that. And you might want to do it in different layers too. And then you can I find for me what works best is holding it parallel to the scalp and then just deciding how short I want it. And I make sure the length is about the same on both sides. So, I'm just being real general here. So it's like, oh goodness. Doing this. Oh, well, anyways, you get a little triangle right here and you pull it off and then you pull it out like this. I find I pulled it out. There's other ways to do it too. There's another method that a lot of beauticians recommend. Oh goodness, what did I do with my scissors, Lord? I just had them and I lost them. Oh, Jesus. Goodness, come on, Jesus, what did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Another method that a lot of beauticians recommend is kind of like going, like you can just kind of like, oh, shoot. Anyways, I have a good video underneath this by a beautician who really knows what he's doing, and he'll help you. So, I'm able to get this. I like to put my hair up like this in a barrette when I go outside. That my hair doesn't get in my eyes. And so that's what I do. But for the bangs, I usually do like a little triangle like here. And then I pull it out parallel to my head, to my scalp, and then cut however length I want, you know. And I make sure that both sides are the same length. That's what I do for bangs. I look good with a little bit of bangs, but side bangs. I don't have a big forehead, so I don't look good with these kind of bangs. It looks kind of like side bangs. So that's what I do for bangs. And when I cut my hair, because to do the Gail commandments, I have to shampoo and cream rinse every day. So I get a pretty high quality, but cheap from Sally Beauty, generic. And I just use something like this for color treated hair because I do color my hair. And in fact, I'm due to color my hair. Some of the gray's coming out. So when I color my hair, this is my favorite to use. It's not real expensive, but it works age beautiful. I go with the ash tones because I'm a winter in coloring and I don't look good with reddish tones to my hair. So I go for ash tones. And this is a dark ash blonde. And it gives me kind of brownish hair. And so I use this. And they have instructions on how to do this. What you do is you mix this with cream developer. 20 is a good strength to use. It doesn't damage your hair and it colors it just the right amount. That's usually standard, about 20. So I put in about 2 ounces of this, 2 ounces of this, mix it up in a coloring bottle, shake it up, and then just apply it in strips going all through my hair. Coloring is easy. I've been coloring my hair. You just follow the instructions on the back of the box and they tell you how to do it. Coloring is pretty easy. Cutting is a challenge. Cutting is hard. Cutting my own hair. Jesus told me. I said, Jesus, I need to go see a beautician, you know. And this is when he was scolding me and telling me that I was wasting my money and that I needed to cut up all my credit cards. And he said, oh, by the way, Gail, I don't want you to go to a beautician either. I said, Jesus. He says, Gail, how do missionaries cut their hair? And I thought, I don't know. So I went online and checked, and there wasn't really too much on. And most missionaries that I look at, well, some of them look like they cut their own hair. So I thought, I guess they just learn how to cut their own hair. So that's what I've been doing. So, um, so that's what I haven't done anything to my hair. This is like natural dry. I find that if my cut is good, that I don't have to do anything fancy with the hair. Though once I put it up in a barrette, it just kind of like acts weird. So, anyways, this is how I'm doing right now with my hair. So it's I color my own hair. I shampoo every day, so this cost me like $5.70 each, and plus I try to get it when Sally has it on sale. And because I shampoo every day, I like to get that's pretty high quality. And so that I get that. So, and Jesus said he doesn't mind me spending money on makeup, and he hasn't scolded me for coloring my own hair. So, I try to cover up the gray. So that's what I do. That's what I've been doing. And I think I got a bald spot coming up right here, but I'm not going to worry about it. At least I don't look like I cut my own hair, I did a year ago when I first started, but I'm getting better at it. See, it doesn't look like I cut my own hair. It looks like I go to a beautician. So that's the main thing. And my goal is to grow it longer. I'm trying to get to shoulder length, but it keeps growing out uneven, and I have to go in there and fix it. So the problem is, when I first started, I didn't have confidence in my ability to do it like the beauticians did, so I tried the ponytail method. Ponytail method does not work if you have wavy hair. What happens is when you do it, nothing falls right. I have to do it the way the beauticians do. So I work on the bottom first. Once you establish your line down here, then you can do your layers. The trick is you want to make sure it's even all the way through. It's still not completely even, but it's close enough for me. So what I do is if I want to shorten this, I'll just kind of pull it out even to the scalp and make sure and compare it with this side, make sure that they're even or whatever, And right now, this side, the layers on this side are shorter than the layers on this side. But I don't want to cut this because I like the length. I'm just going to let this grow out, and then eventually they're going to kind of even out when I go in there and cut. So, and I usually spend a lot of time every month cutting my hair, because like one day I'll spend maybe 1 hour working on the bottom. The next day or a week later, I'll be working on the layers. And then another day I'll devote to the bangs, or the front. And then I always try to make sure it's even, you just go like this, pull different parts, but like it's not, sometimes with this cut a little uneven, I look good with a little uneven. So anyway, that's what I do. And I'm just pleased to report that I have not spent any money on beauticians in the past year. I've been obeying Jesus. And when he told me that, I was imagining myself with hair going down to my waist and just wearing it back in a ponytail and looking really cruddy, or with long stringy hair. And apparently Jesus knew that I'd learned how to cut my own hair. My mother's a beautician, by the way. She does a pretty good job, or she did a pretty good job before she got arthritis. So here's what to do if you're like me and you're under orders from Jesus not to go to the beauty shop. I actually can't afford to go to the beauty shop anyway. Then you can, I guess, if you're determined and you're willing to be humiliated with pretty awful looking hair for about 6 months, once you get the hang of it, you can learn and watch a bunch of videos on beauticians on how to cut hair, and you can figure it out. And you find what works. And then you also try to cut in the style that looks good for you. Read books like Metamorphosis by David Kibbe. I'm a soft natural. I'm kind of a blend between classic and soft natural. So I look good with a layered cut that gives me the illusion of body. And so I find that this cut's I have a pretty flattering cut for my face. So that's one reason I can get away with it, even though I'm not the best cutter. Eventually I'm going to fix my boo-boos and get better.